Hello everyone. So today onwards I start a series called as Frame Questions Like UPSC because I feel today with AI, with the books that you have, anybody can teach anything. Knowledge has become so abundant, anybody can bring in some kind of content, deliver it to you, give you a feeling that your preparation for UPSC is well taken care of. But when you go and sit in the exam hall, you will feel totally startled that what you learned is of zero use in your exam. That's why I would say that now the greatest challenge before aspirants is facing the right set of questions, and the greatest challenge before faculties and academies is framing the right type of questions. And UPSC's 26 prelims gives a clear reflection of that. Look at the first question in Series D of General Studies paper of 26 prelims. When you look at this question, I'm sure many of you would have faced this question. The ideal thing to have done in the exam hall is to leave it unattempted. Right? That is what UPSC is checking. UPSC is not even asking you to go and mandatorily make an attempt of this question. And this is, after all, the very first question. Why do you have to have the urge to just go and blindly take an attempt? Why can't you just be aware of your failures? Why can't you be aware of your shortcomings and deficiencies in knowledge? That's what UPSC wants you to know. And a lot of aspirants have this misplaced understanding of PYQ utilization. They feel PYQs are simply to go and prepare more on that. So any aspirant with that kind of wrong mindset, if they look at this question, immediately they'll go and start preparing on what is Pleistocene, what is Miocene, what is Holocene, all the geological time period is what they'll go and prepare. Trust me, for the next 20, 30 years, UPSC will not even come back to this time period anymore. Because the intent of UPSC in setting this question is to not to test whether you know about Pleistocene or not. It is rather to make you give in to your temptations. Because you see something in the assertion regarding rivers, you see the first option given, Nadi Sukta of Rig Veda, immediately your mind should trick yourself to believe that, okay, since that is also rivers, Nadi Sukta is also about river, one should be there. Right? So you will go for A or C, 1 or 1 and 2. This is what UPSC is trying to trick you to do. But a smart aspirant should understand there is a noise and there is a substance. Noise is Pleistocene period. Substance is rivers flowing into each other. Right? So, now if rivers flow into each other, automatically the species would have all evolved in a common ecosystem. So, they would have all been similar species or species with similar characteristics. Correct? So, this is the kind of mindset that should have gone into choosing option 3 as the right answer. Okay, even otherwise, let us assume you wanted to go with 1, Nadi Shukta of Rig Veda, right? But you have to ask yourself, why would you go with that? Why should you take such a blind logical guess? Just because you have some logic doesn't mean that that logic will apply over here, right? And even let us assume, if you go with Nadi Shukta, right, then what about statement 2? Do you really have a clear answer for statement 2? No, you cannot. 99.9% of the UPSC aspirants would not even have heard about who is Robert Brucefoot. So then you shouldn't be attempting this. Do not go by this fixed mindset that if I can eliminate 2, I will simply go and take 1 as a logical attempt. That's a very self-defeating mindset. That itself is going to put you on a wrong, indisciplined path in the months to come. Even in the next prelims, you will have a similar setback if you keep on following that stupid logic. Right? But look at it patiently. Why don't you feel that the third statement, if you can understand about this science, if you understood about environment and how species evolve, you should understand that 3 is a definite possibility than compared to other option. But your mind is not even allowing you to do that. Why? You are scared. You're scared about spending more time in this question, right? So you want to somehow finish off this question and move on to the next. And in the urge to somehow finish it off, you feel the first instinct that came to you when you look at the question, that Nadi Sukta and rivers are similar. You just want to go for that. That is exactly UPSC's testing and not the knowledge of Pleistocene. So anybody who's going to start preparing on geological time period or any academy or faculty teaching about this extensively is doing a waste of time, and you are indulging in waste of time if you do all of that. Right? Instead, sharpen your ability to eliminate the substance from the noise in that question. The substance is, after all, about rivers flowing into each other. Right? And trust me, UPSC can just frame any type of a question involving any other subject, testing for the same ability, whether an aspirant is able to differentiate between noise and substance. It doesn't really have to be history alone which should be used for that. Even polity can be used. And let me show you a question which I have framed on similar lines. So here's a question which I have posted on my Telegram channel, and those who have not yet enrolled, subscribe to my Telegram channel, just subscribe to it. You get really qualitative questions to practice. The biggest curse of this UPSC community is running after numbers, running after quantity. You just need 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 questions, but without thinking what is the question doing to you? Is this question developing the skill that UPSC is testing, or are they diverting and distracting you to some things that are not even necessary for prelims? Aspirants generally fall prey to that ignorance. Okay, so look at this question. The question is an assertion. The assertion is about Constituent Assembly. Every UPSC aspirant knows that Constituent Assembly functioned as the provisional parliament till the real parliament comprising of Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. See, to have Rajya Sabha, you need to have state elections first. And when did state elections happen? 1951 to 52 winter. So until state elections happen, you cannot have had Rajya Sabha, right? And first Constitutional Amendment Act was passed before Rajya Sabha was constituted. If that is the case, then how could the amendment have been passed by following a special majority procedure? Right? For special majority procedure in both the houses, you need both Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha. Right? So this is a missing gap in your preparation. Maybe you have not been taught about this, or maybe you have not been careful to read, even if your academy has not taught about that. Or even after reading, you're not thinking the question straight when sitting and facing this question. These are all your flaws that are getting tested in this question, because otherwise you know about special majority, you know Constituent Assembly, you know provisional parliament, you know First Amendment Act. Nothing in this question is new to you, but your mind is not able to think and get this answer right. If you see, out of 139 answers that I have received, only 32 of them have got the answer right. More than 100 of them have got this answer incorrect. Right? So this is your ability to know the noise from the substance, right? The noise here is about Constituent Assembly functioned as a provisional parliament until the elections of 1951-52, right? The parliament passed First Amendment Act. Out of that, the noise is the parliament is passing the First Amendment Act, right? It is a noise. It is simply to make you immediately feel, oh, this question is all about amendment procedure. No, the substance of this question is, did you know that provisional parliament existed? That is the substance of this question, right? It is only a few aspirants, some 30 odd aspirants who were alert to this aspect, who were able to eliminate noise and substance and exactly get this question right. So should you as well. If 23% of the aspirants, see, prelims is all about a race between only the top elite candidates. 99% who are pushed out of the race, they don't matter. What the top 3%, right? What they end up is what is the outcome of prelims. And here 23% of the total sample that I have, it's a limited sample, 23% can get it right. Okay, so then what about others? Start utilizing PYQs in its right sense. Understand how to make use of PYQs in the right manner. We'll meet in subsequent sessions. So I plan to exactly take a UPSC question, look for what skill is being tested in that, then come up with my own question, simply to drive in this point, what exactly gets tested. You should not feel misled into thinking that, oh, UPSC is wanting me to learn about geological time periods. If you do that, you're being misled. You should be smart and shrewd enough to clear UPSC to understand whether you're being misled or not. All right. So see you in the next session. Thank you.